Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is Crypto Vibes, and today I'm bringing you my first video on the channel. So yeah, let's get into it. It's a top 10 video. So I'm making basically my list of a top 10 Pokemon in the OU tier, and this is very opinionated. So don't think they are the top 10 in any reason. It's just my opinion. So you guys can go ahead and leave down in the comments below and tell me if you want to make any changes to it. So basically opinionated. It's like I said, it's none are facts or anything, but we'll get into it. So at number 10. I put Tapu Fini into my top 10. I'm gonna kind of do this on the spot, so it's not gonna be anything perfect. But yeah, Tapu Fini I have at number 10. Misty Surge is actually super good ability. You switch in, you cannot get status by anything. Your Pokemon are basically free from status for 5 turns, so that's really good. So here's items I'd recommend. I'd run Leftovers a lot. It's a really good set. Obviously, bulkier sets you can run pretty speedy set on the Tapu Fini. Max speed, Timid is what a lot of people do. A lot of people do. I recommend a more of a bulkier set with Brave, and then maybe, or not Brave, but Bold, and somewhere around I think it's 60 speed I run. Outspeeds a lot of things. 221 is a good speed tier. And move pool. Most common one I see a lot of times is actually a lot of times what I see right now is Nature's Madness. I think it's Moonblast. Yeah, Nature's Madness, Moonblast, Defog, and what's the other move? Most time Haze. I think it's either Haze or what's that other move? I mean, it's just a common set. I'm not really going to talk about sets too much. I don't know the spreads for all those right now, but it's very decent moves for sure. And I put it at 10 on the list, and this is the third, or this is the third of the top moves I put on the list. The other one did not make it, and the two are in front of this. So go ahead and name this 10 right now. And yeah, Tapu Fini is at 10 on my list. Put that there. I'm gonna have to make another slide for another team for this, anyways. Gotta add 4 more Pokemon. So number 9 on my list, I did have Mew. And like I said, guys, this opinion, if you guys think that there should be something else on this list, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. Or if you think a Pokemon should have been higher on the list, go ahead and let me know. So Mew is its ability to get Synchronized. Synchronized, in my opinion, is a pretty solid ability for Mew. Because if you want status it, you're basically getting status right back. Say you want Toxic it, the only way you're not getting Toxic is you're a Poison type or Steel type, so because you cannot return, Mew cannot return the favor back. So other than that, Mew can synchronize anything most of the time. And yeah, it's really hard to take down Mew. So a lot of times Mew does some of the things that Fini does, but in my opinion, I just put it above because it can do a few more things. Well, a lot of more things if you count all the moves in it and stuff, but Leftover is a very common item on the Mew. I can also see Colbur Berry on certain sets. I should have talked more about the Fini move, more items and stuff, but I can get to that some other time. And then on the Mews, a lot of times you'll see Psychic, a 2-attack move, 2 attacks, and then I'll show you. It's you'll see something like this with a Willow. Or no, you won't see Willow, but you'll see Defog Roost or something. That's what I'm trying to say. You'll see Defog Roost or something like that, or you can replace Knockoff for Will-O-Wisp. In my opinion, Will-O-Wisp is really key to have on this thing. You can even run Knockoff Will-O-Wisp right here, which isn't bad. And stat-wise, more of a bulk physically defensive mon, like I said with Fini. Obviously, the meta could change, but for now, it's somewhere just you want physical defensive or physically defensive Mew. I think it's a set. I don't remember the whole sets, like I said, guys, but I'm just recommending what I see a lot. So base 100s across the board is really good also. So we'll name that 9, and we'll move on to number 8. And sitting at number 8, we have Heatran. I had to think about this list for a while, guys. There's a lot of honorable mentions I'll mention at the end, but it sucks I couldn't put it on the list, but it is top 10, and I knew there'd be some things I couldn't put. So this is Heatran. Flash Fire ability is amazing. It switches into a lot of hidden power fires from other steel types, and if you're ever running a core of Heatran plus Ferrothorn, you can definitely switch into Heatrans on other opposing Magazones. It's a very good core to deal with Magazone, I'm trying to say. And Dugtrio as well. So Ferrothorn most of the time can deal with Dugtrio, unless it's that Screech or Grounding Z set that you see a lot of times. But item-wise, you can also see Leftovers, another thing. It's a bulkier mon. I like using a lot of bulky mons. You probably see a lot of Leftovers on most of the items I recommend. Power Herb is definitely one you can definitely see with if you don't want to run Grassy MZ. You can run Grassy MZ as well with Solar Beam, which is a very good option. I've seen Inferno Overdrive a couple times, so Fire MZ obviously would be the item for that. And then other than that, I don't think I've seen Corkscrew Crash or anything, so or Tectonic Rage or any of that. But move-wise, Lava Plume. This is the comments that I run most of the time. It'd be Lava Plume, Toxic, Taunt, and Stealth Rocks. Very good mon for just, set up your rocks on Ferrothorns, other steel types. It can deal with basically any other steel type besides I can't really think of them on the top of my head right now, but there's definitely stuff that can deal with Heatran. I'm not thinking of it, but and then there's a trap set. There's trap or subset. But I'm going to talk about the chop set for a little bit. It's Magma Storm, Toxic, I think still Stealth Rock's Taunt maybe. But this one has a lot more like invested in special attack. I don't know the exact sets like I said, but yeah, I'll just talk about the moves for a little bit more. And other than that, you can run Substitute with Magma Storm and trap them in your opponent. You can trap like Toxapex and stuff. Get rid of that for your other up team and stuff. So yeah, he trains at 8 because I just think it's a very well-rounded Mon and it deserves to be on the top 10 somewhere on this list. So yeah. Number 7 on the list, I have, you guys might be a little bit shocked at this one, but I have Tapu Lele down at 7. A lot of people could put this thing higher on the list, to be honest, and I definitely could have. Like, if I thought about it longer, I might have actually put it higher, but for now, I'm going to put Tapu Lele at 7. It started off the meta really, really strong. It was probably a top 3 Mon, if not the best, for a while, but a few more checks have come out ever since, and more common things, so it has dropped in its value a little bit, in my opinion, but that does not mean it's a bad Mon at all. 2 common sets at the beginning of the meta were Choice Scarf, Choice Specs, so obviously both there. Not so much anymore. You see a lot of Psycheum Z with Shattered Psyche, I believe. So you see Psycheum Z. I've never really seen Twinkle Tackle or anything out of this. I guess I've seen All Out Pummeling a couple times, but most of the time you'll see like Z move. You could see Calm Mind with it. I've never really seen Nature's Madness or anything. Yeah, that's basically about it for Lele. But like Lele just like, it comes in and hits things super super hard. Like it just destroys Toxapex. Like, if Toxapex is ever a problem with the team, just go ahead and throw Lele on. If you're ever dealing with stall, you throw Psyshock and Psychic on. It can destroy Chansey as well. I wouldn't say destroy, but it can definitely do some damage. It's a very good hard hit and wall breaker for sure. So I'll go ahead and put Lele at 7 for that. Now I'll go ahead and talk, when I get to the top 5, I'll go ahead and talk about more like what these mons do in specific, like what they counter and check and more like that. But I'm kind of giving you like the basics of these right now. But at 6, put Volcarona. Now, Volcarona for me has always been a very hard mon to use. Can I talk? There we go. But yeah, Flame Body is a very common ability. You're going to use that as your ability, basically, is what I'm trying to say. 30% chance to burn the opponent that makes contact with it. So yeah, it's very good there. And item-wise, I would say Leftovers Life Orb is an option, but other than that, I would definitely say Z-Move is the most common one. You can run Psycheum Z, which is very common for breaking Toxapex. Keldeo can be a switch-in on one Quiver Dance. Say it's a Scarf Keldeo and you Quiver Dance and he hard switches in Keldeo on your Quiver. He'll outspeed you still, and Stone Edge is becoming more common. So you can see that as an option. So getting rid of that. Move-wise, Fiery Dance is probably the most common fire move you'll see from this thing. You can run Fire Blast if you want. Giga Drain's there is a very good option. You never really see Calm Mind because Quiver Dance is an option, like I said. But Bug Buzz is there. Then you got, scroll down a little bit, you got some other options. Morning Sun, I don't really know if I'd recommend that. I mean, I guess it's Roost is what more people run. And you do see that every now and then, so. And Sub could definitely be an option on this thing. This thing is definitely well enough to take hits from most things. Outside of rock types, water types, certain things like that. But yeah, that's about it for Volcarona. Stat-wise, you basically want to max out, a lot of times max out like the HP actually. I've seen that on a lot of sets. Special attack and speed can build up over Quiver Dances, which is very nice. If you set up on certain mon, you can definitely break some walls. That is number 6, and moving on to number 5. Number 5 is one of my favorite mons to use in the tier, and that is Zygarde. I've actually drafted Zygarde in a couple of one of my draft leagues, so I like him a lot. He's very good. Yeah, I think he's very diverse actually. Now, a lot of people will disagree with that because he only gets a few. His move pool isn't the greatest, but you can do a lot of things with him. Ore Break is his ability, unless you're running Zygarde, obviously 50%. Or not 50%, but 100%. And it says, while this Pokemon is active, the Dark or Fairy Aura power modifier is 0.75, so nothing really crazy for, obviously, its tier, but item-wise, you can run Leftovers, you can run a sub-bulkier set, I believe it's Sub-Coil Dragon Dance 1000 Arrows, or something like that. But basically, let me get to its move, right? Let me get to its, I'll talk a little bit more about items. You can run, definitely Choice Band is very something you see a lot. I love running that. Life Orb is an option. I wouldn't recommend it really on Zygarde. What's another one? You can see Corkscrew Crash sometimes, I guess. Sometimes. And then, if you're talking about Choice Bandit set, I would go into Outrage. This is what I recommend. Outrage, 1000 Arrows. It'd be Extreme Speed. And Toxic a lot of times would be the last move. Because even if you're not able to like get a huge hit off on something, you can at least Toxic it before like dying or something. This would be the Choice Bandit set, that is. If you guys did not hear that. So outside of that, obviously it can do a lot of stuff. It can Dragon Dance, like I said, on certain sets. It can Coil. It's very hard to deal with. In my opinion, the hardest one to deal with is the sub Dragon Dance Coil set. I believe it's that. I don't use Dragon Dance and Coil, but I'll talk about what I use. I use Substitute, Coil, 1000 Arrows, and Toxic. Now, Toxic obviously hits some of the harder walls that Thousand Arrows has trouble dealing with, but we can sub and coil behind certain things, which is very nice. And if you're ever building like a bulkier build, I'd recommend throwing some Spadef in there, however much you'd want. Nature-wise, I guess I'd throw Adamant and Jolly in there a lot of times. And yeah, that's basically about, well, Adamant, Jolly, and Careful. Careful Nature for like a more Spadef set, like I said, for like the subsets like this. But yeah, but Zygarde is 5, and some of the things Zygarde just, I don't really, can't think of anything off the top of my head. I didn't really prepare for this video too good, guys, but just making a top 10 list on my opinion, but you can obviously check a lot of Steel types. Steel types have trouble with it. Magana, which is a huge threat in this tier, it still is, like, it's dropped a tiny little bit, but it's still a huge threat. Like, it's so hard to deal with, and Zygarde can put in work against it if you predict and play right around it. The other mons it can deal with just Steel types in general. It can set up on Skarmory, it actually can, which is pretty crazy. Zapdos, it's one of the few mons that can deal with Zapdos if you run the sub coil set or whatever. If Zapdos is not running HPI set is. And yeah, just certain mons like that, so Zygarde definitely gets the job done. But we'll go ahead and open up another team real quick and put in OU. And coming at number 4 we have, in my opinion, the Bestopyou. But a lot of people can disagree with this, and you can leave that down in the comments below if you would like to. Again, guys, this is a top 10 video, so it's all opinionated. If you disagree with it, just leave it down in the comments below. Don't dislike the video just because you don't agree with the list, please. But yeah, let me get into this. Tapu Koko's at number 4 because I think that is just a super, super good pivot mon. And it's a very good mon to lead off with in games. And in my opinion, leading off that turn 1 play is super important. And you can definitely, if you ever have a bad lead or whatever, then you're going to be putting yourself in a bad spot right from the beginning. So Tapu Koko, I run a magnet set a lot of times. This is like the most basic set right now. And I'm okay with running it on every team basically if I use Tapu Koko with. Because you don't really need Tapu Koko to be a like a hard hitting wall breaker. That's not what it does. Like, it can pick up some kills, it definitely can, and then hit our ice, yes. So this is the moveset I usually run on the magnet set. That is the one on Smogon right now, right at the moment. Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, U-turn, and a hidden power ice, and I believe that's with a Timid Nature still. Even though as U-turn, Timid Nature works, and you run the fast special sweeper. So you max out those right there, and then Tapu Koko just basically goes to work. It's a very good lead against, you don't really see Choice Scarf Landers right now. So it's a very good lead against Landerses, Greninjas, you can outspeed Greninjas. Those are two very common leads you see on certain teams. You can see like other things that set up hazards like Heatran, Ferrothorn, and Tapu Koko just has a decent matchup against all those because it can either Volt Switch or U-turn on out, or it can even Hidden Power Ice the Landers if you want to predict rocks, certain stuff like that. So Tapu Koko definitely does a very good job at that. Its ability Electric Terrain, let me talk about that for a little bit too. It's super, super good pairing it on a rain team. If you'd like to use that with a, I've seen it on Haluchas and stuff, Electric Seed, which is really cool. I believe Electric Seed, what does it do exactly? Electric Seed raises, in the terrain, it raises the holder's defense by one stage, which is really good actually. So you basically just come in on the terrain and you get an automatic +1 defense, which is pretty crazy. So you can go ahead and pair Pokemon with Koko and go ahead and throw another mon on there with the item Electric Seed and definitely put in some work. So I'll put Tapu Koko at number 4. And number 3 on the list, we're getting down to the nitty gritty now, and this is really hard to put these certain mons in here, but I went with Languorous Therian, and this thing has been super good ever since it came out. So yeah, I had to put it up here. Intimidate is a great ability for Languorous. It does so well on it's a very good lead Pokemon, like I explained with Koko. Languorous can just put in so much work. The moveset I run a lot of times right now, and it's the most common one I run right now, even though it's not the one I'm using on my current team, but I use the Flying Z set with it's just a nasty set to be honest. Earthquake, Fly, Hidden Power, Ice, and Stealth Rocks. So you can obviously lead on most things and get your rocks up. Like I said, if you're facing against the Koko as a head-on lead, I would most likely recommend just going straight for the Earthquake, even though he would more likely switch out. But it just depends where you're at on the ladder, guys. Yeah, it just depends where you're on the ladder, honestly. And then if you're running a laner set like this, Flying Z, I recommend Jolly just max speed, honestly, so you max it or outspeed most things. If you want to speed creep things, you can do that around certain round areas right here. Can't really think off the top of my head where you can speed creep certain things, but Jolly or Adamant with this set is very good. I didn't mean to click that, but if you don't want to run a Platinum Z set, Choice Scarf is still very good. It has been the whole time this thing has been out. Choice Scarf with Earthquake, even Knockoff is an option. U-turn is a very good option. And if you don't want Stealth Rocks on Choice Scarf set, you can definitely go back to Hidden Power Ice, or you can go Super Power even. Get Stone Edge for like those Charizards and stuff. It's really good. It's really good. And there is another set as well. You can run the Flying MZ or the Rock MZ with a Double Dance, which means basically, let me go back, Swords Dance with Rock Polish. And then I'd recommend Earthquake plus probably Stone Edge or Knockoff, to be honest. because if you're getting both your dances up, then you want to more than likely stay in. So with that, I'm gonna put Landers at number 3, and we'll move on to the top 2. And at this point, most of you guys will probably know what the top 2 are, and I'm gonna go ahead and list off number 2 right here. Number 2, I put Magana. Now this could very well be number 1 or number 2 or number 3 on the list. This thing, in my opinion, is just so freaking good. It's so hard to prepare for if you see it on another team. You have to play around it very well. Your ground types are going to be super important if you face this thing. Like Landorus, Zygardes, not Dragonite, but Garchomps, certain things like that. And you just play super careful on this thing because this thing is so diverse with what it runs. A lot of times you'll see any of this thing, most of the time, if it's not Assault Vest, you'll see a Z move. You'll basically see a Z move every time. It can be Steelium Z, which is Corkscrew Crash. It can be Barium Z, which is Twinkle Tackle. It can be Electrium Z, which is Gigavolt Havoc. It can be it can literally be them all, guys. It can be Fightium Z with All Out Pummeling, and it can be even, I've seen this even more now, Icium Z with what is it, Sub-Zero Slammer. Yeah, just all this stuff has become more common. You never know what to expect on it. So if it gets a shift gear up, your team is in trouble. Like, you got to play around it so carefully at that point. A lot of things this thing can break through. It can just break through. I didn't really talk about Landorus because it's more of a pivot / setup mon, like I was talking about. And it can just put work on teams. It can dent other teams very well. Play with that very good. So we'll go back to Magana though. My bad. Put on list number 2. And let me go through the Pokemon real quick so I can just get a reminder of what this thing really destroys. Like I'm saying, like if you're, imagine you're the Electrium Z, right? Celesteal would usually be a pretty solid switch in, right? If you get a shift gear up and you already have like a Beast Boost or anything, not a Beast Boost, but a Soul Heart up, then Celesteal is not doing much. You can really, Zard Y gets destroyed, Zard X can get destroyed by Twinkle Tackle if you have it. Like, you just have to play around the Z move basically. I'd suggest if you're facing this thing and it has if you're predicting the Z move on that turn, definitely sack off your most useless mon in that game. So it's just a really hard mon to prepare for. And Heatran will be one of these only answers, I would say, because Fighting Z All Out Pummeling has become less common. So just watch out for that. There's a few counters I can think of off the top of my head. Not counters. No, not counters. We'll say checks, I guess. I mean, even if like I can't even think of them off the top of my head right now, guys. But this thing just does so much after a shift gear, so it's really solid. And obviously the stats show for itself. It's very good. It can run under Trick Room itself, which is really good. And yeah, it can do very good with that sense. It's just so diverse at what it does. It's such a good mon. But moving on. We'll move on to our last mon, and at number 1 spot we have Greninja, and I'm gonna go ahead and put Battlebong up here right now, but I do count both Greninjas at the number 1 spot, and for a good reason. This thing, Battlebond, obviously, if you KO mon while you're in, then you get your boost or whatever. The stats show up right here. You get 145 attack, which is no joke at all. Most people think you can just throw off specs and that's like the only set, but no, you can definitely run anything you want. 132 speed is nothing to joke around with. With timid nature, that is, what is that, 399? Yeah, 399. Items, Life Orb is an option, choice specs. You can run, what is it? I can't even think of anything else right now. Life Orb, choice specs. Sometimes choice scarf to outspeed certain Coco sets is very good. So Hydro Pump under choice specs is really nasty. Dark Pulse is very good. You can go with Water Shuriken, obviously, is great to pick off certain things. That just destroys Dugtrio, so if you're ever scared about getting trapped with Dugtrio with this thing, don't even worry about it if you're not locked in a move or anything. Then obviously, on the physical side, if you want to run like let me talk about the Protean for a second. Let me go Greninja, just regular Greninja with Protean real quick. If you guys don't know what Protean already does, the Pokemon type change to match the type of the move the user is about to use. So you go for that, and basically, let's say I've seen this set a lot. You go for U-turn, you get a stab. You get stabbed basically for every single move you're about to go for. So you get U-turn. If you ever face in a Tapu Koko and you're pretty sure it's coming for electric move there, and you haven't shown spikes yet, go for spikes. You can set up with this mod as well. Like, gets its own hazards, which is crazy. It gets Hidden Power Fire is kind of not, I wouldn't say common, but it's around a lot for Ferrothorns and such. Dark Pulse and Hydro can still be around the set, but if you're on the Protean set, a lot of times physical moves will be set. Gunk Shot's very good for Tapu Fini and stuff like that. Tangrowth can still run Ice Beam. Ice Beam on the Protean set is very good still. Yeah, I guess Low Kick even. I've seen Low Kick is very common. And just the stats on this thing once it gets in is just ridiculous. And that's why I have it put at number 1. So we'll go ahead and do a quick review. We had Tapu Fini at number 10, Mew at number 9, Heatran at number 8, Tapu Lele at number 7, Volcarona at number 6, Zygarde at number 5, Tapu Koko number 4, Landorus number 3, Magana number 2, and Greninja number 1. So hopefully you guys agreed, or not agreed, but liked the video. And if you did, go ahead and feel free to leave a like. And yeah, like I said, if you want to change around the order or like such what I did right here, then go ahead and leave down in the comments, and I'll get to talk to most of you guys about that. So peace, guys.